So when I was growing up, I was obsessed with books and TV and movies, and I really wanted to write, and books and TV and movies were the only thing I really understood. So I kind of went back and forth between wanting to write articles for a newspaper or a magazine or something and wanting to try to write novels, and eventually I decided I would write magazine stuff or whatever I could write as a journalist while I waited for idea for a novel. So Rolling Stone is one of the first places I wrote really big stories for, and it was a blast because they would send you all over the place. They sent me to different countries to interview bands, or to Los Angeles to interview actors. You guys know who Julia Roberts is? She was the first person I ever did a big story on, and I remember just walking with her to a coffee shop in New York City. We just had to walk like 2 blocks so I could interview her with a tape recorder, and I was so nervous I couldn't say a word. Like I couldn't say like, hey, how was your flight, or whatever, like small talk. Over the years, it gets easier because you interview a lot of people and you get more comfortable, and it really helped me overcome some of that shyness, and it helped me in a lot of ways. And it also helped my writing, because if you want to write, you just have to write all the time, all kinds of different things. I wrote and edited articles for magazines for a really long time, and I wanted to write a novel. And we were doing a lot of articles about stuff like Fault in Our Stars and Hunger Games, and I was noticing how much young people love to read. But one of the things you do when you're doing a story, just like when you're writing a report for school or anything, is that you start researching stuff, and now because of the internet, you can research anything you want. I needed to think of a name for a town, so I put in Google like, cool name for a fictional fantasy magical town. And there was like some Reddit thread or some Yahoo thread that was literally like, cool name for a fictional fantasy magical town, with like 30 names. Caving is a big thing for some people in Montana, and there's a lot about the girl. Caves are a big part of her relationship with her dad. They used to go caving all the time, and it becomes a big part of the book. And I'm scared to do almost anything, but I went and with a high school caving club in Montana and learned as much about it as I could. There was a high school science teacher who was obsessed with going into caves, and he helped me make sure that if somebody who knew everything about caves read the book, they wouldn't laugh at it. You know what I mean? For his mom, do you know who Emily Blunt is? So I had her in mind a lot as I was writing the character of his sort of mother. And because you watch so many TV shows and so many movies, all these things are in your mind as you're writing, and you're just remembering. Who's seen Edward Scissorhands? I love Edward Scissorhands. You should watch it. I thought about that movie a lot, just as like the tone of it. How do you make something funny and romantic and kind of scary, and a character who's really likable even though he's incredibly weird? There's a movie that nobody watches anymore, but it's great, and I think it was probably shot around here, Witness, with Harrison Ford. You know Harrison Ford from Star Wars. Like in my book, you know, you have a character from somewhere else who is trying to just get accepted and understand this new world he's in. When you write, you use everything that happens to you and everybody you know, and you don't want to hurt your friends' feelings by stealing stuff exactly, but someone will say something, or you'll know someone's life story and it will inspire you. Somebody told me a story the other day about when she was growing up, her brothers, she had 3 brothers, and they were really loved bacon. And every morning they would fight over who had the bacon, and if you left the table to go to the bathroom, somebody would take your bacon. So they started going to the bathroom with their bacon. And I just thought, that's a great little story. And I don't know how I would use that, but somehow it's just that you can kind of picture what it would be like to be in a family like that. Someone gets up from the table and carries their plate of bacon into the bathroom. Whatever you see and hear and read or watch ends up somehow in your book. I sold the book. Usually you have to write a book completely, and then you show it to an agent, or you put it online and so many people like it that somebody wants to publish it. There's lots of ways to do it now. A lot more than when I was your age. There are plenty of places, like you can go on Twitter and just say your idea for a story, and if somebody likes it, an agent will see it and maybe contact you. There's like contests and stuff like that. Bestsellers, like that movie The Martian. Did you guys see that? I think that's a really good movie, and that was a book that he couldn't get published, so he put it online and millions of people read it. Then someone said, okay, we'll publish it. It became a massive hit. Then it became a movie. I was lucky. I wrote maybe 50 pages of the book, and then I outlined what I thought would happen, and it's a 2-book series, and somebody bought it because they trusted me, and they liked what I'd written enough. These are just like I was reading a draft of the book, and every time I realized, oh, that guy's left-handed, I forgot he's left-handed, I got to go back and make him left-handed, I would put a post-it up that says, make him left-handed. And these are just all the things for the last draft. So you're constantly, even after you turn the book in, you're working on it for a year, cutting stuff and changing stuff, and working with an editor who has her own opinions about the story. And it can be hard sometimes. It's like a teacher who tells you your report needs to be better or clearer. But they get you, they really do help you get your book better. Listen, thank you for listening to my strange talking. You guys seem cool. I approve of you, and I think you're going to do very well. And I approve of your teachers who have been doing a good job. Thank you, guys.